What if the sanctity of an ancient temple hid rituals so chilling they shaped an empire's might? Would you dare to step inside? The year is 1450 CE, and you find yourself ascending the steep stone terraces of Machu Picchu, the Andean wind whispering tales of dread as the sun dips below the rugged peaks. Here, in the heart of the Inca Empire, priests wielded the most terrifying torture practices, not as mere cruelty, but as sacred tools to maintain order and appease the gods. These rituals, shrouded in mist and mystery, showcased a resilience that turned pain into power, their echoes resonating through the empire's golden age. This story pulls you into the shadowy rites of Inca priesthood, leaving you to wonder who devised these gruesome methods and how they held sway over a civilization perched on the mountain's edge. The Inca Empire, flourishing from approximately 1200 to 1533 CE, was a marvel of organization and spirituality. You can picture the sprawling terraces of Cusco, where stone walls fit without mortar stretched across the Andes, connecting a network of roads and cities under rulers like Pachacuti and his successors. Historical records, pieced together from Spanish chroniclers like Pedro Cieza de Leon and archaeological findings at sites like Sacsayhuaman, reveal an empire that thrived on agriculture and religious devotion, its population exceeding 10 million. The priests, known as Wilca Camayuk, held immense power, overseeing rituals that blended astronomy with sacrifice. Among these were torture practices, lesser known than human sacrifice, designed to extract confessions or enforce loyalty, rooted in the Inca belief that suffering purified the soul and pleased Inti, the sun god. One such practice involved the Taki Onkoi, or dancing sickness torture. You might envision a priest, his face stern beneath a feathered headdress, binding a prisoner's limbs with llama hide cords, forcing them to dance until exhaustion in a firelit temple. Archaeological evidence, including skeletal remains with stress fractures from the Cupac Nan sites, suggests this method was used to break resistance, as noted in chronicler Felipe Guaman Poma de Ayala's sketches. The rhythmic torment, accompanied by drum beats, was believed to drive out evil spirits, a ritualistic endurance test documented in oral traditions. Temple attendants spoke of these sessions in hushed tones, their eerie cadence a testament to the priest's control, reflecting a resilience that turned suffering into spiritual currency. Life in the Inca highlands was a constant negotiation with nature and authority. You can almost feel the chill of the Altiplano as you traverse a mountain path where farmers toiled under strict quotas and warriors faced harsh discipline. The empire's theocratic structure, detailed in the Relación de las Cosas del Perú by Cristóbal de Molina, placed priests at the apex, their torture methods a response to rebellion or heresy. Historical artifacts, such as stone altars with binding grooves at Coricancha, indicate tools for these practices, used to enforce the Mita labor system or punish dissent. This resilience transformed torture into a survival mechanism, a cultural adaptation to maintain unity across a rugged, diverse realm. The Inca worldview infused these rituals with sacred purpose. You might hear the soft hum of a panpipe as a priest prepares a captive, his work guided by the belief that pain offered a direct line to the gods. Rooted in animistic traditions, torture was seen as a purification rite, with the Huaca spirits demanding sacrifice for prosperity, as recorded in Inca cosmology by Juan de Betanzos. Yet this clashed with the arrival of Spanish conquistadores who condemned it as barbarism, sparking early tensions. Priests shared tales of cleansed souls or broken spirits around sacred fires, their stories preserved in fragmented oral histories, revealing a resilient spirit. These narratives suggest a society where terror and devotion intertwined, torture practices bridging the earthly and divine. But the question lingers: what drove the Inca priests to craft such terrifying methods? And how did they shape the empire's fate? As you stand on that misty terrace, you might wonder what other dark secrets of their rituals lie buried beneath the Andean stones, waiting to be unearthed. Welcome back, history seekers, as we descend deeper into the mist-shrouded temples of the Inca Empire, where the chilling torture practices of its priests reveal a tapestry of survival and control. You last stood on the terraces of Machu Picchu in 1450 CE, captivated by the Takion ritual and its eerie dance of endurance under the Andean sky. Now, let's uncover how these methods evolved, forged unexpected alliances, and tested the resilience of a priesthood facing the empire's expanding demands, a narrative that draws you closer to the heart of their terrifying legacy. As the Inca Empire grew, the priests refined their torture techniques, blending tradition with strategic innovation. You can picture a Wilca Kamayok in Cusco, his face etched with determination, adjusting llama hide cords to intensify the Takion dance, inspired by a vision of a trembling earth. Historical records, such as the Nueva Crónica y Buen Gobierno by Felipe Guamán Poma de Ayala, suggest that by the reign of Tupac Yupanqui, this ritual incorporated rhythmic chants to heighten psychological pressure, documented in oral traditions preserved by Quechua elders. The method, aimed at extracting confessions or loyalty, evolved with the addition of cold water drips to prolong suffering, a practice inferred from skeletal remains with hypothermia markers at Ollantaytambo. This adaptation turned a ritual into a craft of resilience, offering priests a tool to maintain order across a vast empire. These practices sparked unlikely partnerships across the Andes. You might envision a priest collaborating with a local curaca, a community leader in the Cola region, sharing torture techniques to subdue rebels, their alliance sealed with a coca leaf exchange. Archaeological evidence, including stone altars with wear patterns from the Quipacñan network, indicates a shared knowledge base, with methods like the Sapa Inca, or royal torture, spreading, as noted in Spanish chronicler Pedro Pizarro's accounts. By the time of Huayna Capac, these alliances enriched the rituals, adding symbolic bindings, a detail recorded in Inca textile fragments. This unity strengthened the priesthood's authority, yet drew resistance from conquered tribes, who viewed it as oppression, prompting priests to defend their methods in temple councils, their sanctuaries echoing with tense debates. The challenges of imperial expansion drove these developments. You can almost feel the thin air of a highland pass as you traverse a trade route where Inca rulers faced uprisings and the strain of unifying diverse cultures. Historical accounts, like those in the Relación de las Cosas del Perú by Cristóbal Molina, highlight the use of torture to enforce the mita labor system, with priests employing sleep deprivation alongside dancing, a method suggested by fatigue-related injuries on skeletons from Huánuco Pampa. Some rituals involved suspending captives over chasms, a practice inferred from cliffside altars, designed to instill fear and obedience. This resilience transformed torture into a survival strategy, a cultural response to the pressures of maintaining a sprawling theocracy. Spirituality remained the bedrock of these practices. You might hear the soft wail of a panpipe as a priest prepares a captive, his work guided by the belief that suffering pleased Inti and Pachamama. Rooted in animist cosmology, torture was a purification rite, with Huaca spirits demanding penance for harmony, as recorded by Juan de Betanzos. Yet this clashed with emerging Spanish influence, which labeled it pagan, sparking early conflicts. Priests shared tales of purified souls or shattered wills around sacred fires, their stories preserved in fragmented Quechua narratives,
revealing a defiant spirit. This tension shaped their identity, torture practices bridging divine will and earthly control. But the mind lingers. How did the moral weight of these methods affect the priest's own psyche, and what hidden costs did they bear? As the ritual's complexity deepens, the mystery of their impact grows, leaving you to wonder, what drove their persistence, and how did it shape the empire's end? Welcome back, history enthusiasts, as we bring the haunting tale of Inca priests' torture practices to its gripping conclusion, a story where terror and resilience shaped an empire's destiny. You last ventured into the highland temples of Cusco in 1450 CE, marveling at the evolved Taquiancoy rituals and the alliances that sustained them under Tupac Yupanqui's rule. Now, let's witness the climax of these methods, where they faced their ultimate challenge, and their legacy echoed into the modern era, offering insights that resonate today. As the Inca Empire neared its end, these torture practices encountered their greatest trial. You can picture a Wilca Kamayuk in Quito in 1532, his hands shaking as he binds a captive for the Sapa Inca ritual, the temple lit by a wavering oil lamp, while Spanish conquistadors' drums signal their approach. Historical records, such as the Crónica del Perú by Pedro Cieza de León, note that under Atahualpa's reign, these methods intensified to counter rebellion, with archaeological evidence from Cajamarca showing altars stained with blood and cord marks.
The strain was evident. Priests faced exhaustion and dissent, some abandoning rituals as Spanish pressure mounted. Yet others persisted, adapting with quicker sessions, a resilience that turned tradition into a final stand against invasion. The empire's fall marked a turning point. You might imagine the last torture rite in 1533 as Atahualpa's capture loomed, a priest suspending a captive over a chasm in a desperate plea to Inti, the chamber silent save for the wind's howl. The Spanish conquest, documented in the Relación de la Conquista del Perú by Francisco de Jerez, ended these practices, with churches replacing temples and torture deemed barbaric. Yet the legacy endured. Modern Quechua communities recall purification rites, as noted in 21st century anthropological studies, linking Inca resilience to cultural survival. This thread wove their past into present-day Andine traditions. The spiritual resonance was profound. You can almost hear the final panpipe notes fade as Spanish missionaries banned these rituals, labeling them idolatrous, with priests facing execution or conversion. The Huaca spirit's demands were silenced, their texts burned, but stories persisted. Fragments in oral histories and colonial records like Informaciones de Servicios, preserved by descendants, speak of purified souls, turning these grim practices into legends of endurance. This fusion of faith and fortitude left a legacy of adaptive strength, a lesson in survival that outlasted conquest. Today, their tale echoes. The Inca torture methods prefigure modern discussions on psychological coercion and resilience training, linking ancient rites to contemporary ethics. Their endurance shapes debates on cultural preservation in a globalized world. As you stand on that windswept terrace, consider this. What lessons from their terrifying rituals still influence our understanding of power and survival? The answer might lie in the whispers of those Andean ruins, waiting to guide us anew. Thank you for joining this journey. Stay tuned for more mysteries from history.